What's going on, guys? This is the RPO College Football Podcast. I'm your host, Ron Jones. We got my man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ray Roberts, right over there. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Let's talk some college football, man, because I'm always excited to talk about this stuff. We got some great games that came on this week as well. We got some good games this season, man. I don't know if it's the fan atmosphere, the feel of college, but we got some really, really good games. What do you think about the season so far, Ray?
So far, it's been really good, like you said. I mean, I think getting the fans back, absolutely. I mean, it boosts everything. I mean, like the shows, the pregame stuff. I mean, it's just so much better this year than it was last year, without a doubt.
Yeah, last year was horrible. Just didn't even watch. It was just like so dead. Some games were getting canceled. It was just some sloppy play. You could tell some of the players wasn't really all in it sometimes. Last year was it was hard for everybody. It was really hard. Like some of the better teams was losing. I was just like, what's going on here? Now
Yeah.
this year we get some good stuff. I mean, we got tight games. We got fans out there. It's exciting. And I'm super excited to be here with my guy Ray Roberts to talk about all this right now. But let's get into week 3 because week 3 was a good one. And we're gonna start off with the one team right away. Ray, we're gonna talk about Nebraska versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma survives Nebraska 23-16. Ray, I want to know what was your feelings on that game, and how do you see Nebraska? Oklahoma at this point? Because yes, they're 3-0 right now, but they haven't been too hot. They haven't been like that dominating presence. What's your feeling on this team?
I agree with you. They haven't really been playing offensively what we've seen. Their defense has struggled. They didn't struggle as much with this game, of course. But Nebraska's not a world beater anyway, so they don't really score a ton of points anyway. They were more of a ball control type of a team. But I don't know how to take Oklahoma because they played well. They played very conservative on offense, and that Spencer Rattler had a nice completion. He 24 of 34, but only 214, one touchdown, which means he didn't really push the ball downfield much.
Exactly.
It's unusual for him. But, I mean, hey, man, a win is a win. A good win against a quality team. So,
Yeah, it's funny you say that, right? Because I was literally just thinking that as well. It's just like maybe Lincoln Riley was like, all right, Spencer, we're going to dial you back a little bit because you haven't been that hot yourself. We want to see how things are going. So let's see how that going. Before I get to that, guys, thank you for all our viewers in here. We got a few viewers in here. So this is a live interactive podcast. If you have any questions, you want to talk about something that we're talking about, if you have any opinions on these games, please put your comments in there. We will put it on the screen. We will interact with them. So thank you for watching. But Ray, do you think that's the case that, maybe Lincoln Riley was like, hey, let's dial it back a little bit. We haven't been looking that hot passing the ball. Let's be a little bit more conservative. You think that's the approach he's trying to go now, or just like a game thing?
I think if you're really Lincoln Riley, if you want to win games, you need to try to sustain drives and try to keep your defense off the field as much as you can. I'm not saying that they're not a horrible defense. I have some players, but I think if you ball control and have time of possession to your benefit, that it will only help your defense be fresher and make plays for you, maybe get the ball back for you. And let's face it, they only threw the ball 34 times and they ran the ball 31 times. So that's pretty balanced. That's for today's football, that's very balanced. For Oklahoma, it's usually unheard of, to be honest with you.
I agree. And just looking at some of the sacks from Oklahoma, the guy Benito been playing out of his mind. He's looking like a really good player. Had 2 sacks in that game. What's your thoughts on him?
Good player, nice defensive player. Had a nice game. I mean, it's just I have a hard time with.
He's getting some buzz lately.
What's that? I didn't hear what you said.
I said he's getting buzz lately.
No, he's been really getting buzzed like the last couple of weeks. He's been stepping up his play and helping them out. So, yeah, for sure.
Definitely. I just wanted to see what your thoughts on that. We don't really get into the players sometimes. But we got our first comment here, and it is from Avery. he said much more balance than I expected. I definitely, it was a lot of balance in that game. Like Ray said, Oklahoma, the last couple of years, Jalen Hurts, Colin Murray, now Spencer Rattler. I think, Baker Mayfield. It's just been passing, and that was very on display last year because Spencer Rattler was throwing, had like 40 something yards. 40 something attempts. This is not. And like Ray said, it was a lot more balanced now. It was like, let's dial it back. Because we rank number 3 right now. We need to make sure we're winning these games. We're not looking that hot right now.
I mean, when's the last time you saw Oklahoma run the ball 35 times and only throw it 34?
Exactly.
I mean, that's not at least not in the last 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, Avery, you definitely had that on the nail. All right, let's get to our next game, and that will be Michigan versus who will they play? Miami, who I am missing out on here. So while I'm finding that, Ray, what was your thought on that game? If you guys was watching the last podcast, I actually gave Michigan State the win on this one. I wasn't too hot on my picks. We will talk about that later. But Ray, what's your thoughts on that game? Because that was probably the only one out of our picks that you solely didn't get right.
I'm done with Miami. I'll say that first and foremost. Peyton Thorne, the quarterback from Michigan State, had a very nice game. Kenny Walker is a stud.
I agree.
He's a stud, man, and that's all there is to it. The offense kind of runs through him, and he's a stud. And
he really is.
He is, man. I mean, I kind of feel sorry for De'Ara King. He went to Miami with hopes that he would contend for, maybe at least an ACC title, and it's not going to happen. They're just not. They're not helping him out down there. I mean, they're just that team is really bad. I mean, the AD down there, Julian Frank. He needs to shake out the cobwebs and figure out what the next move is for Miami, because they're not good. They're just not. They have some talent, but they're not good. I mean, it's just that simple.
Yeah. I feel like they gave up. I mean, it was 17-14 in the third quarter, and then fourth quarter, Michigan State was just going off on them. Like, like you said, Thorne had 4 touchdowns. Walker had 172 yards on the ground. But I think it was just crazy that their offense only mustered up 52 yards rushing, and you gotta be more balanced on a team like that.
Only 52 yards rushing.
I wonder if they're legit contenders. So I'm not gonna say they're contenders, but are they a real team as far as, because the last couple of years Michigan State been not that great. So Ray, what would you say?
I think the Michigan State is a quality team. I think their defense is probably their Achilles right now. It's not as good as their offense. And like I said, that Michigan State has Kenny Walker, and they have a nice quarterback there. So they'll be in a lot of games. I can't – it's hard to get excited a win over Miami. Even though I picked them to lose, I did. Yeah. I thought that Miami – I honestly think Miami's a more talented team. I just don't play more talent. That's why I just don't. It's hard to justify.
Yeah, it's hard to justify them as a good team if they're not gonna be winning. We got the comments right there say Ray, and we got the comments say Jerome, and that will be Michael Bailey. Michael, we miss you, man. Thank you for being back. We appreciate you being back in here. We miss you. Good to see you on here, man. Mike, man, good. One of our first couple of commenters that used to come on here, and we do appreciate him being on here as always, as much as everybody else. But
I mean, when you say is Michigan State a real team, are they real as a contender in the Big Ten?
Yeah. I mean, Big Ten.
If you're asking me that, my answer is probably still no, because I think Penn State's better than them. I think Michigan may be better than them. I got to back up a little bit. Michigan helmet on the helmet, Michigan, or is it Michigan spread offense, Michigan? Which Michigan is it?
Helmet on helmet, Michigan, because you know what? We are running on people like crazy, and I love it. Mike says Miami stinks.
That's correct.
I'm not gonna comment on that. Ray will. I'm not gonna comment on that. But I will say I lost trust in that team for a while. Avery Collins says Michigan's pass rush is sus. See, man, y'all keep saying that, and I don't think it's as bad as you guys keep saying. Like, they get pressure. I mean, you're not gonna always get sacked. I don't know. Just as my opinion. I don't know. I know how it is to try to get sacks for people. You're not gonna always get sacked. So I'm gonna leave that to you guys to talk about that. But anyway, that's my team. I don't want to keep rambling about it, but that will be a good game. Michigan does play Michigan State this year, as always. So we're gonna see how that goes. We're gonna see who's the real team. He says Remy and Coach Avery, bro. This is the whole reunion in here. Yes, we got the whole gang in here. We got Avery, we got Remy, we got Mike. Man, this is crazy. Thank you guys for all being on. We really do. All right, let's get to our next game. This is another game that I didn't get right. This is the Virginia Tech versus West Virginia. West Virginia beating Virginia Tech 27-21. Virginia Tech was ranked 15 at the time. Ray, what's your takeaways in this game?
I like West Virginia. I think they're a good team. I think they have a good, solid defense. I didn't expect Virginia Tech to beat them, so I wasn't surprised.
You wasn't surprised at all, though?
No.
Bro, my new Facebook was wondering why I never saw you guys pop up anymore. Oh man, Mike, you gotta stay up on it, man. You gotta stay up on it. He said ACC is too so tricky. I'll never understand that conference. Yeah, they do be finicky. You get obviously you got your Clemson team who's not doing that hot as well, and we'll talk about that as well. And then you got your wait, do I even have that game over here? I should have it. Yeah, I think it's on there. And then you have your other teams after that, which those teams are very inconsistent year in, year out. Virginia Tech was a team that I thought was going to be a better team, and they still are. I think West Virginia is a better team than a lot of people think, and they weren't ranked. I thought they should have been ranked. Ray obviously got this game right. What else do you want to say about this one, Ray?
I just think that for West Virginia's defense is better. I think that they have a more balanced offense. 100%. I just think that they're an all around more physical team. So
yeah, I agree. And I was very surprised because I thought the defense for Virginia Tech was gonna be the deciding factor, like I said last week. And West Virginia, I like their squad, man. I like what the coach they're doing. I'm blanking on his name. But yeah, he came in Neil Brown. There you go. He came in like 2-3 years ago and really changed the culture of this team. Like I'm very impressed with it. So we might be seeing some good West Virginia football. And Levy Brown, a guy that in the preseason I thought it was going to be really good, and I was looking for him. 106 yards, a touchdown. So they did well. They did really well.
Yeah, I like them. I like their team, and I just think honestly, Jerome, the line told me to take West Virginia, so I did.
The line never lies, right? The line never lies.
It lied in Michigan State game, but yeah.
Avery said roll tide. Okay, moving on with that one. Let's get to our next game. We're going to be talking about the Minnesota Golden Gophers versus the Colorado Buffaloes. Ray, we were going to talk about this game, and it was a complete blowout. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think either both of us got it right. Hold on, I gotta look at it.
No, you got Colorado, man.
I did get Colorado because Colorado was starting off, had that one game, and I was just like, all right. Then they played somebody good last week. I know it was Michigan. I mean, Notre Dame, right? Last week.
No, they didn't play Notre Dame.
Oh, who did they play?
I don't
remember. Yeah, I just played Purdue. Man, they played somebody last week, and it wasn't a bad game. I think it was in a close game. And then this game, it was like, all right, well, we forgot we were Colorado. So, Ray, what do you think about this game and how you? They didn't use Tanner Morgan that much. He only had 17 attempts, so it took the ball out of his hand. I personally already said that he was. He was the reason why I didn't think this game would be at least like this. I thought it would have been at least a closer game. Because my confidence in him went way down. Ray, what do you think about taking the ball out of his hand?
I think it's a good idea. I think Tanner Morgan is he's a solid quarterback. I think he's better with a good run game like most quarterbacks are, especially him though, because a lot of his passes is about timing, getting guys open, like short areas of the field. I just think that, like, honestly, if you look at the stats in the game, Minnesota had 279 yards rushing.
Mm-hmm.
And Colorado had 73 total yards for the game. That's everything. That's rushing and passing. 73 total yards for the game.
Definitely. Yeah, that game was crazy. I mean, they ran all over this team.
The crazy thing is Minnesota lost their best running back, Mohamed Abraham. Season, and they still ran the ball for almost 280 yards.
Yeah, and the defense was stout. They didn't give up a touchdown. It was really good. I mean, they had to be on the field as long.
They gave up minus 9 yards rushing. Minus 9.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I have minus 14.
I have minus 9. Hey, whatever. Anytime you're minus your rushing, it's not a good sign, man.
And all right, so total yards. This is running and passing. They got what I have. Me and Ray's numbers a little different, but I have 68 yards total.
Well, that's what the difference is. I have minus 9, but I have 73 total yards.
Well, that makes sense. But still, that's crazy. That is insane. Like either whoever's numbers is correct, it's still an insane amount of like that. So I think that's a little crazy. Mike says Jerome Avery catch this weekend. Mike, you might not know that I have actually moved to Georgia, so I'm actually in Georgia right now. I do plan on being up there one of these days, closer to Thanksgiving, maybe. Might have a football catch or whatever. But I am in Georgia now, so that's for that. But you still got my boy Avery, and I will come up and visit you guys one of these days. All right, now they're getting personal stuff. Yeah, Jerome's in Atlanta, so thank you. For responding to that, Avery. But yeah, this game was just stout defense. The running game was crazy. Two sacks in the game. This game went completely opposite of what I thought. Completely.
Yeah, well, I had Minnesota winning the game. I didn't think they were going to win by 30-0, but it happens.
I think anybody would. And if you guys don't already know, we try to get the closer games, the closer line games, and the closer games for you guys for our pick'ems. So that means automatically we don't think these games are going to be blowouts, and
right.
It was.
Right.
Let's get to our next game, right? Because this game comes near and dear to your heart. Obviously, we're going to talk about Notre Dame versus Purdue. Notre Dame wins 27-13. I really want to hear your assessment on your team because the first two games, although they won both those games, we thought they were really shaky on both of those games. How you feel about this game? Did they bring a little bit more confidence in how you feel about your team?
Yeah, they put somewhat of a complete game together, but they did play Purdue, so they didn't get.
Don't discredit them. Purdue was looking a little bit better this year, and they didn't just stomp them out. They did win by 2 touchdowns, but it wasn't like a stompage. Purdue came out early, scored early, and then it kind of got out of hand from there. But what you think?
Notre Dame gave them no big plays. Pretty much Purdue got, they had some yardage. They scored 13 points. But they didn't make any big plays. Nothing that would, that would excite you as a fan. They did get some nice completions. The quarterbacks played okay. But again, as soon as they get the completion, Notre Dame defensive player over there attacking them. I think Notre Dame played a solid game. I think Kyron Williams had his first really nice game of the year. Averaged like over 7 yards a carry. He had another 2 receptions for 47 yards. Scored 2 touchdowns. So he had his first real nice game of the season. I mean, we'll see how they have a big game this week. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and like I said last week, Kyron Williams was one of the running backs that I had high on my list. I thought was going to be playing really well. So hopefully he does get on the right track. I have a question for you, Ray. Is Jake Plummer's son?
I think he is. I don't know that for sure, though. I think he may be.
I was wondering. I was like, that's Jake Plummer's son. I wonder about that.
He actually played okay. I mean, again, he 25 of 36, only 187 yards, though, which means he was completing passes, but they weren't getting any yak yards. So, you know. Yeah,
definitely. I'm guessing this is Remy. He says, beating Purdue the way they did wasn't very impressive. On the same boat as Ohio State, not putting up 40 points on Tulsa. Can't feel too comfortable as a fan. Is that your feeling right now, Ray?
It is. It is. They play Wisconsin this week. We'll see what happens.
Definitely. And we're definitely going to be talking about that game. So let's get to our next game real quick. Oh, man, this game. We're going to talk about this game because, if this team would have won, this area would have went crazy. We're going to talk about the Georgia Tech versus Clemson game. Clemson was ranked number 6. And they're playing a Georgia Tech team that's not historically known as a dominating team, but 8-14, right? What's your take on this game? Clemson came out with the early touchdown and then finally got a touchdown at the end. Didn't give up a touchdown to Georgia Tech, but 2 field goals, a safety, had them on their ropes, and it was a very defensive game. What's your take on this one, right?
I think that Clemson's defense is pretty solid. I think their offense is. I think they're trying to build something there, and they just don't know what to do. The quarterback is playing okay, but he's not. They don't. And I'm not going to blame the quarterback. They don't have the playmakers on this team they've had the previous years, and that's all there is to it. So
yeah, like you said last week too, right? Their offensive line not good.
No,
DJ, I had high hopes for him, and and again, it's not necessarily him though. It's like that offensive line don't have the weapons, like you said.
Their offensive line has struggled the last couple of years, to be honest with you. But Trevor Lawrence, with his athleticism, kind of hit a lot of that. And losing Etienne is huge for this team because they don't really have a consistent runner anymore. Yeah. Anybody who's a game breaker on the offense now. They still have solid players, but you know what? We talk all the time, Jerome. If you don't block, it doesn't matter. And they don't block anybody. They don't. Their offensive line is not good. So
definitely. Let's go and Chuck. Thank you for coming into the chat room. Thank you for checking this out. His college football has been wild. Has been a wild season as many teams are overranked. Seems very good. Particularly season. Glad Ohio State sucks on defense. Clemson has no playmakers. Yes, they don't have playmakers. That is exactly what we're talking about. No, so not having any playmakers, no offensive line. DJ. I'm gonna get it one day. I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna butcher his name today. But DJ had a game. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. It wasn't even good, to be honest. But they did enough to win, which is good for them, but they need to watch out because they're going to have some games coming up soon, and they need to make sure they straighten it up.
Well, you say they have Will Shipley, who's a good running back.
Yeah.
They have Justin Ross, who's a very good wide receiver. Yeah. But again, you don't have time to get the ball to them, so it doesn't. There's just nothing. They're not cohesive on offense right now, and a lot of it has to do with the offensive line, I believe. So
I agree.
We saw the young quarterback play last year. He was good. He wasn't Trevor Lawrence good, but he was good. Now he looks like half of that guy, to be honest with you.
Chuck says Alabama will be there in the end with Georgia and Oklahoma as they get easy schedules. We're going to actually talk about Alabama right now because they played Florida and barely won by a field goal. Last minute field goal at that. And I think that Florida looked pretty decent. What was your take on the Florida Alabama game, right? Alabama winning 31-29.
Alabama's defense is not as good as it's been the last few years. I mean, that's pretty.
Which is shocking.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. They're just not as good. It's really funny watching them play on offense. They seem like they have good players on offense, but they don't push the ball downfield at all. I guess maybe they don't have the downfield guys that they've had the last few years. Florida actually outgained Alabama on offense, 439 yards to 324 yards.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like Florida ran the ball for 258 yards. I mean, when does that happen?
I know. Like
that's the thing.
Normally Alabama had those big hogs in the front of their defensive line, and you're not running that much on them. And this Florida team just gave it to them. And I gotta admit, man, I came into the season like, all right, this Florida team is gonna be not that good. They lost so many weapons. No Kyle Pitts, no Kyle Trask, no what's his name? Kadarius
Toney.
Kadarius Toney. There you go. Thanks, Ray. I think, and I was like, man, this team's not gonna be that good, but they're playing right. They was ranked 11. I honestly don't remember what their rankings right now, but they went toe to toe with Alabama, and they like, hey, SEC, we're here too. Don't think about Alabama only. We're here too. So
if I were a Georgia fan, I'd be pretty excited right now. If I can convince Kirby Smart that Nick Saban's not his daddy, maybe he can make some noise this year.
Wow. But you're completely right. It's just like, now that all right, this is that game where other teams like a Georgia can be like, there's some leaks in that armor right there. Let me poke at it. Like, let me see what we can do. And they might that game might be a great game at the end of the year, right?
I mean, if you can, to me, that's how you beat Alabama now. If you can run the ball, keep their offense off the field, you have a shot.
And that's the funny thing, because I think that Georgia has that recipe to do that.
They do. Georgia is that team. They like to run the ball anyway. So, I mean, I still would be a little hesitant about taking shots downfield because I think Alabama's defensive backs will get better as the year goes on. But you can't get better up front if you're not good.
I agree with Chuck right there. They're going to have to beat Georgia and then get that rematch with them. He also said,
what bothers me?
If that happens, that's part
what bothers me? Alabama don't play Georgia this year?
Yeah, that's what I said at the end of the year.
That bothers me.
Yeah,
I don't like that. I think they should play each other because now you know what's going to happen.
The way they lose to Alabama, as always. That is true. They bow down to Alabama every time they play. They really do.
The whole Kirby Smart, being Nick Saban's little boy that was what it was about. I mean, if you remember the first time the game the Tua won, Georgia had that game won. Well, I shouldn't say that. In the first half, they dominated Alabama. Yeah. In the middle of the third quarter, they're still ahead. And then it was like I said, like Kirby Smart was like, oh my God, Nick Saban's over there. What am I going to do? It's like I'm trying to bring back bad memories for Falcons fans. It's the same thing in the Super Bowl. You had this guy coaching, and he's over there, oh my God, Bill Belichick, what is he going to do? I better continue to put the pedal to the metal and throw the ball here, even though I should be running the ball. Yeah.
If Florida beats Georgia goes undefeated. If Florida beats Alabama and the SEC championship game, then all three are in the final four. I think that's a good scenario. It can happen. I mean, Georgia don't play Alabama until that actual championship, so we'll see.
Georgia plays Florida, though.
Georgia plays Florida, yeah.
They do play them.
Yeah, they do. They do. You're right. SEC is dominating. Oklahoma and Texas joining. It's not even close for the rest of college football when they expand. I agree with that, but at the same time, Oklahoma and Texas is nowhere near the top talent of the SEC. I can't even. I'm sorry. Oklahoma can be, and most likely will be, but Texas is done. I can't even talk about Texas right now. We haven't been talking about Texas all season because they haven't been talkable. Like they haven't been that good. So, but let's get to another SEC game versus the Big Ten game. We're gonna go to Penn State versus Auburn. Penn State with an impressive win over Auburn, 28-20. Penn State only rushing for 85 yards though. Sean Clifford, 2 touchdowns, 280 yards. What parallel universe are we in, Ray?
He played probably maybe one of the best games I've ever seen him play. He seemed
100%.
on time. He seemed, you know what? I think the offensive line at Penn State probably played as well as you could play in front of him, which is always a good thing. Take it from a Miami Dolphins fan.
You're right about that, by the way. I'm sorry.
What's that?
No, I was responding to Chuck. He said that the recruiting will be better in the SEC. We did talk about that last week, right?
It will be better. But, and here's the thing, like Jerome said, Oklahoma will compete, and they'll compete pretty quickly. Texas is leap years away from SEC talent right now. Okay, so
okay, right. What was you saying about?
I think Penn State's offensive line played as clean a football game as I've seen them play in a couple of years. I think Penn State's defense is pretty good. Even with the players they lost last year, they play good team defense. Yeah. I think that they're not going to beat Ohio State, but I think they're capable of beating just about everybody else in their conference. I think they had a nice win against Auburn. Bo Nix actually played a decent game, didn't turn the ball over, and if you don't turn the ball over, he's a solid player. So it was a good game. I was very happy with the quality of the game. It was a good game. So
definitely. Listen, Ray. I'm a Michigan fan, as most of you guys may or may not know. I don't hate Penn State because when I used to live in Jersey, that was one of the closest schools to us. So a lot of people like Penn State, but I love seeing them win, and I like seeing Michigan State win because. What that's telling me is that this conference got a lot better this season. It's a lot better schools and games this season with the Big Ten. Last year it was very sloppy. Penn State was bad. Michigan was terrible as almost always. Michigan State was terrible as always. Michigan was, I don't know what the heck Michigan was doing. We didn't even look competitive at all. So I like this. Like I feel some balance. You got Wisconsin was another good one. Ohio State is Ohio State. Even with their struggles, they're still Ohio State. I think this conference is looking very entertaining this year.
I think the Big Ten is a very good football conference. I always have good physical team. I think honestly. And this is going back to the whole thing about Texas and Oklahoma. I think Penn State or even Michigan could compete
about that.
in the SEC way better. That's not going to happen.
I'm not going to comment on that.
It's not going to happen.
But he says the secondary. Whiteout games are the best. I will say.
Oh, they are great.
Very comparable. It's very comparable to the games at Michigan. Those two games when Michigan goes on their maze out and the whiteout games. They're probably the best games. I hate when Michigan plays Penn State in their whiteout games because I feel like every time we always lose. Iowa. I missed out on Iowa. Iowa's looking really good too. It's going to test Wisconsin. I think that'll be good. Big Ten is physical but slow against SEC. We'll see. I mean, I'm not gonna say they're slow. We got more physical teams, but I wouldn't say they're slow. But anyway, Ray, this game, Bo Nix again. He didn't get a lot of yards. He was digging and dunking. 185 yards with 37 attempts. Do you feel like they should have stretched out the field a little bit more to give them a better chance?
I think that maybe I think you should try to throw the ball downfield a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, they're afraid because that's when Bo Nix gets – that's when he gets brain cramps and starts turning the ball over. So, you know what I mean? You're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Yeah, we like to push the ball downfield, but do we really want Bo Nix to do it? So,
Chuck, you're funny. You're not wrong, but you're funny. You're funny. But yeah, I
honestly, I don't think, to go back to that subject again, I don't think Michigan would beat Ohio State, but right now they have the formula for it. They're hatting up and running the ball. So,
yeah. I mean, you're right, right? They controlling the clock, running the ball really well, getting over 300 yards almost every game. I'm enjoying some Michigan football right now. I'm trying to hold my breath for whatever disappointment comes, because we haven't been playing the greatest. We have played Washington, which is a solid team, but we haven't really been in our division that much. So we'll see. We'll see.
Let's face it, as people that are college football fans, like I think all of us are, and what like we talk about, the people that come on and chat with us, I mean, they are too, obviously. Mm-hmm. There's nothing better than college football fans. There's really not.
I agree.
There's nothing better than it. There's nothing.
Nothing better than y'all guys down there in the comments.
There's nothing better than it. There's really not. I get goosebumps. This is crazy. I'm 59 years old. I get goosebumps thinking about it. Okay?
Oh, yeah, I want to go to a game so bad.
I'm going next week, man.
I go to yeah, right. Go to the Michigan game. Yeah, go to
Cincinnati.
Michigan game.
First time go see touchdown Jesus up close.
We're gonna see, man. Y'all can play Cincinnati. It's a good squad over there too.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game.
Mike says, I had no idea what to think about Bo Nix. Sometimes I'm impressed. The other times I'm scratching my head. I'm scratching my head more than impressed, to be honest.
You know what? You know what the problem is there, though, honestly? So is Auburn.
Right. Very funny. He said, hold your breath, Jerome. Once they play a team that will be interesting. It will be, Chuck. And that's why you see me, I haven't been talking about my Michigan team that much. I say things here and there, but I'm trying to hold my breath. I gotta keep it in. Let's go to our next game. We got 2 more games left. We got the BYU versus Arizona State. Ray, this is a game that we both got wrong on. We both got Arizona State winning this game. Arizona State was ranked 19. BYU was ranked 23. They beat Arizona State 27-17. Ray, what's your take from this game? But BYU is looking like a better team than I think both of us thought going into the season.
Their defense is better than I thought. It really is. Yeah. I didn't expect them to be able to. I thought Arizona State would go out there and have their way with them on offense, and they just didn't really happen. Arizona State actually looked a step slower than them everywhere. I was surprised. It really was. So,
I agree. Daniels throwing 2 interceptions didn't help. I mean, Hall threw 2 interceptions as well, but he got 2 touchdowns to kind of balance it out. Excuse me. I mean, those interceptions hurt the team, man.
Yeah, I was quite surprised, to be honest with you. I didn't expect BYU's defense to be as good as they were. I didn't. So
yeah, for sure. It wasn't a huge rushing game. I mean, who had the most yards was Inata, who had 82 yards and a touchdown. But it was passing, and it was passing in defense, man. It wasn't too much you can say about the running game.
It's kind of weird because BYU scored 27 points, but if you look at the stats, you're like, where'd them points come from?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was weird.
Yeah, you got three passing touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown. Well, that's 20. That's 28.
I mean, we had Jaron Hall threw 2 touchdowns, but he threw 2 picks.
Yeah.
And then Tyler Algier had a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, and Romney.
That's what surprised me too. Like even him, he's pretty good, but he's having a hard time running the ball right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is BYU team, and like I said, very surprising 3-0 start. Congratulations to them, especially after losing, their quarterback last year in Zach Wilson. But yeah, very very interesting, man. I didn't see that game coming down to that close. So kudos to BYU. I mean, they Arizona State was favored by 3 points. So
yep.
All right, last game. This game is crazy as well. We have UCLA, the surprise team this year, ranked 13. And we was like, oh man, this team is rolling. But defense was nowhere to be found in this game. Where Fresno State, a team that is currently 3-1 right now after beating them, beat them 40-37. Wade, what was your thoughts in this game?
Jake Hayner, the quarterback for Fresno State, threw for 455 yards. That is crazy. He completed 39 passes. I mean, that's a game's worth of passes just in
right. How many passes you said?
He was 39 of 53.
Oh, okay. I thought you said 39 passes. No, it was
he threw the ball 53 times and completed 39 passes.
Yeah.
It was like, wow. I was really, I mean, honestly, the score tells you 40-37. I mean, like, no defense. So
no defense at all. Yeah, they could not stop Hayner at all. They did get some rushing. Don't get me wrong. They had 136 yards from Rivers and 2 touchdowns from him. So it wasn't completely just passing. But if you're getting 455 yards from in the air by your quarterback and 36 yards on the ground by your running back, I hope that you're winning that game. I really hope that you're winning that game because that means you can have a lot of yards and nothing's happening.
The crazy thing is, you won that game by 3 points with them stats. That's crazy.
Man, it was like they was going back and forth. Like it was just like
it really was almost like a video game. It really was. Every time I literally went into the bathroom, came out, and two scores were scored. I was like, what happened?
It was like,
I was in there for like 5 minutes. I mean, like, I was like, wow.
Yeah, it was that type of a game.
Blew my mind.
It was definitely an offensive explosion game. UCLA, what's your feeling on? I mean, Thompson didn't have a bad game. 278 yards with 14 of 24 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And he also rushed for 67 yards. I like him. He's a good kid. I'm trying to figure out what they're doing with Carbonet because he had a really good game in the first game. He had only 6 attempts in this game. We think about Chip Kelly. Like you still have high hopes for him because they did score a lot of points.
I think Chip Kelly will be fine. I think that he's still getting his players in there.
Yeah.
I think we all think Thompson Robinson is a good athlete and is a good solid quarterback.
Yeah.
But until you can stop somebody else on defense, you're not really going to win anything. And I mean, I know they're a Pac-12 team, but you still need to play some defense. You know.
Yeah, they're the epitome of a Pac-12 team because
they are. I mean, most of them teams are offensive teams to begin with, but like when you give up, well, I mean, if you look, I didn't even count up the totals, but you're talking about 700 yards of offense. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean that. Like I said, offensive passing was there in that game, and they really had no defense. They had no answer for the passing game. As you see, like you can't have that. You can't always depend on shootouts. You gotta stop somebody on defense. So I totally agree with you on that one, right? All right, let's get to our last session, right? This is my favorite part because hold on, while I'll get our stats. I already put it in here. Our prediction for our pick'ems for the week. So right now, this is the total score right now. Ray is in the lead, 19-14. Ray, you got a pretty good lead on me right now, which is fine. I'm coming back. It's all right. I'm a little under 500. Ray's doing pretty well. But we're gonna turn this around, guys. You ready for this, Ray?
I am.
All right, let's do this. All right, first game we're gonna do is LSU versus Mississippi State. Ray, who you got in that one? While I look up the box score, which is they got LSU favored by 2.5. That's what I got right now.
Wow, I had 5.
Really?
Yeah.
I have 2.5 right now.
Wow, that scares me now. Wow. That bothers me now.
Yeah. Mississippi State is at home, so that plays a factor into that score right there. Well, while you're thinking, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna kind of go with my heart because LSU they are only two. They are 2-1, but the one loss really hurt, and the 2 wins were not that impressive to me. I'm still holding out hopes on their defense. They're unranked right now, which I haven't seen them unranked in a long time since the Burrow days. Actually last year, what I'm talking about. But I'm still holding high hopes on the defense. I keep leaning on the defense, hoping the defense do better. They haven't. They would disappoint me. I'm gonna go LSU this week, but LSU, man, if y'all lose again, I'm sorry, I'm off the train.
You know what, Drum? I'm just gonna piggyback off of you. I was going to take LSU.
Yeah.
To begin with, but I had a 4.5 point line, and I was thinking comfortably 4.5. If I got 4.5 away, I'll take LSU. But the 2.5 point line tells me Mississippi State could win the game.
Yeah. I agree with that, Ray. I think that we will see how that goes with that.
Yeah.
And that's gonna. I think that's. I do think that's gonna be a good game. So we'll see about that. Let's get to your team. You got Notre Dame versus Wisconsin. Ray, I'm just gonna picture you as Notre Dame right now. I'm not even gonna ask you. I'm gonna go with. I like Wisconsin this year, but I'm gonna go with Notre Dame. I think they could go get their act together. I mean, they've been through some struggles, which is a good thing. And it might be a struggle in this game too, because the defense have not been looking that hot. I could be completely wrong, but Ray, how do you feel about this game?
I'll be honest with you, Jerome. If I was betting, I would take Wisconsin.
Yeah, they are favored by 6.5.
Yeah, I have by 5, but honestly, I'm going to go with Notre Dame, and I'm going to tell everybody right now it's a homer bet. It is. It's a homer pick. It is. But if you told me you have to bet, and I'm not, if with the line, I would play Notre Dame. Yeah. But if you ask me who I think is probably going to win the game, I think Wisconsin will probably win the game.
Yeah, right. That surprised me when you said that, because I wasn't expecting you to say that, right? I really wasn't. I thought that you was going to be on the side of Notre Dame all the way, and for you to question that Wisconsin is going to win this game, that tells me a lot, right? Tells me a lot about yourself too. Tells me a lot about you, but tells me a lot about your team as well.
Well, I see a team in Notre Dame who is not played consistently yet. Mm-hmm. I see a team in Wisconsin who is not a world beater talent-wise, but they're a solid team.
They are.
They're playing at home. I mean, I'll pick Notre Dame because I want them to win. But if somebody told me I had to bet, like you have to bet $100 on who's going to win the game, I would probably bet Wisconsin.
All right. Well, the man of truth and a man. That's why he's the man, the myth, the legend. There we go. All right, let's get to our next game. We're gonna go to Texas versus Texas Tech. Rivalry game right here. Texas is favored by 7.5. I have right here.
I have 11.
Woo, Ray! How you get 11? Jeez.
I have 11. I don't know what line I was looking in, but I have 11.
Wow. What's your take on the game? Texas Tech is 3-0, and this is a team that me and you say we both felt like this is going to be a good team this year. They're 3-0. They're showing us good so far. Texas is 1-0. Who you taking in this one?
I'm going to take Texas in the game. I mean, they're favored to win their game, and I think they should win the game. And honestly, they better start winning some of these games. Because I don't care what conference you're playing in. Teams want you to win. Players who you're recruiting want to see you win games. So you better start paying more attention to winning games before you start worrying about what conference you're going to play in 3 years from now. Okay?
Yeah, definitely. Ray, I'm gonna go with my gut on this one in my heart. I'm going Texas Tech. And it's not because they're less talented. It's almost exactly what you said, right? I just think that Texas is they're not there, right? It's just they're 2-1, but it wasn't impressive games. The games they're playing in it doesn't seem like they're the team that we thought could be. And Texas Tech, man, I really do think they're a sneaky good team, and it's a rivalry team. It's a rivalry game as well. So, and I need to pull my numbers up as well. So I'm gonna go against you on this one and take Texas Tech. I'm going against you. I'm going against the line. I'm going against what conventional people might say. But I feel this in my heart. This is going to be a good game, and I think that Texas Tech can take this one, man. It's gonna be cool.
I don't know. I just think that if you're Texas, you need to start winning more games. That's all.
No, I agree, and you gotta win more convincing games at that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like they're terrible because they're 2-1, not 1-2, but they can easily be 1-2. Yeah. All right, let's go to our next game, which is going to be I have on here Louisville versus FSU. As you already know how we feel about FSU the last couple of days and been talking about that. Louisville is favored by 1.5. That's what I have right now. How do you feel about this game, Ray?
How do I feel, or who am I going to take?
Who are you going to take?
I'm going to take Louisville.
Yeah.
It's almost scary to say, but they're favored by 1.5, 2, and they're on the road. I mean,
yeah,
it screams take Louisville, to be honest with you.
I agree. Ohio State had that one good game against you guys. And since then, they look like the regular Ohio State from the last Ohio State. Florida State, the last couple of games. Again, these Florida teams just not living up to the hype. I mean, Florida's doing good, but Florida State, Miami, tons of talent, cannot win games, and it's been like this for a couple of years. And it's so weird to understand. I just don't understand how that happens, right?
I don't get it either, to be honest with you. I don't know. I just think that if you're Florida State and Miami, and I hate to just lump them into one big ball, but you need to. I think Miami's done. I do. Yeah. I think Manny Diaz is a horrible coach. Mm-hmm. I think Florida State has enough pull where they can wind up. There's a lot of talk about them hiring Deion Sanders after this season. I think that would be a step in the right direction. I do. Because the money in South Florida right now is not what it's been, what it was. And right now, I think especially Miami is never going to compete with the money that some of these other teams are playing. You need to spend on a good head coach in today's college football. I hate to say this, and to an offensive and a defensive coordinator, at least $10 million if you want to be good at it. If you want guys really up to 15, if you want good guys to operate your teams. Miami's not going to pay that money anymore. Florida State, with the right boost and Deion Sanders involved, could.
I agree. All right, let's move on to our next game. Deion Sanders in Florida State, I think, will be a perfect match, obviously, for obvious reasons. But that recruiting, if he goes there, that recruiting is going to be dumb crazy. He's going to get a lot of good guys. So we'll definitely see how that goes. But hopefully, I want it to happen. I hope it does happen. I mean, it would suck for him to depart from his son, but his son can always transfer too. So we'll see.
Always transfer too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All right, let's get to our next teams. This is gonna be a fun game, right? If you guys don't watch any of these games, watch this 3:30 game. Texas A&M versus Arkansas. You already seen what Arkansas can do. They're 3-0. Texas A&M, we already knew they're gonna be good from last year. They're 3-0. This is a a hard SEC game. Ray, who you got?
Texas A&M.
Favored by 5.5.
5.5. Yep.
Why's that?
Better coach team. Better
Yeah.
team all around.
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking them as well. Arkansas is an intriguing team and looks really good. They've always been a really good running team, and I think that's really cool that they still keep that tradition of how the philosophy of the team going throughout the years. It hasn't always been pretty, but it looks like they have something going now, and I'm excited. I'm always excited to see. I'm not gonna say new teams, but teams that haven't or like teetering or like okay, you hear about them, they get a win here and there. You're like, oh, that's nice of them, for them to come into the rankings and be really good the next another season. So I love seeing that. I love to see new teams just be good. I would love to see Arkansas win this game, but I just think Texas A&M is a way better team, and I really like Spiller. He's a really good running back to the pass, take the pass in the backfield and all that to help out his quarterback. So I think I'm taking it at Texas A&M.
Yeah, me too.
All right, cool.
I'm not as big a fan of Spiller as you, but I think he's a good college running back.
I like him. I like my running backs that can do more than one thing.
My problem is I'm looking at a lot of mock drafts right now, and I have him as my third or fourth running back, man.
There you go. We're talking college football. This is talking about the draft already. But
sorry,
that's what you gotta love, Ray. You gotta love Ray. He's always studying. He's always looking. I love this guy. It's my guy, Ray. All right, let's get to our next game. UCLA versus Stanford. Stanford is a team that you like to follow, Ray. I know you like their head coach. UCLA is coming off a hard game, barely making it. Who you got in this game? Both 2-0. 2-1. I'm sorry.
I got UCLA.
UCLA.
I think they'll just outscore Stanford. To be honest with you,
Ray, I'm actually surprised in that because I thought their UCLA is favored by 4.5.
They are,
and they are away, so that brings their numbers a little higher.
It's like almost a 7-8 point line right now. If you put in the fact that it's like 2.5, 3 points just for being at home. Yeah. And I do respect Stanford, and I like David Shaw, their coach. Mm-hmm. I just think they've been struggling, and they've been struggling on defense, and you don't want to play UCLA if you're struggling on defense, man.
That's why I'm not sure how I feel about this game with UCLA, especially looking at the defense from last week.
It takes Stanford, man. That's good.
I like my defense. You know how I feel about that. I was a former defensive player myself.
You like defense, and you don't want to watch the UCLA Stanford game, dude.
Yeah, but I am going to take UCLA. Okay. I'm going to be good. I'm going to be a good boy.
I got
UCLA. I do think UCLA is going to win this game. But I would not be surprised if this is another high-scoring game because I hate this stop nobody. Man, that was crazy last week.
Going to be a high-scoring game.
I agree.
I don't know what the over-under is, but I'm going to say
the over is 85 points.
85 points.
I'm sorry, 58.
Okay, even that's a little higher than I saw, but so they're thinking it's going to be like a 40-20, like 35-30 game, basically.
Yeah. So we'll definitely see how that goes. I think that's gonna be cool. I'm gonna mention this game because it's closer than you think, and both these teams are undefeated. So this is off our board. We can both vote on it. I didn't have it on our board, but we can vote on it still. Kansas State versus Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is at home. They're favored by only 6 points. Both teams are 3-0 right now. Kansas State is that team that I said, hey, they look good. They got their quarterback Scholar back. I love their running back and Deuce Vaughn. Defense is a stout defense. Ray, who do you think is going to win this game?
What's the line in the game, Jerome?
I got 6 points for Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State is favored by 6 points.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're going to win the game.
At home.
Then they're going to win the game.
I'm taking Kansas State.
Okay. And that's why you'll never catch up, Jerome.
Listen, this is my week, right? This is my week.
Okay.
But
we only have 2 that were different on this week, so it don't matter. At least so far. I know there's no way you're taking Colorado again, so I'm good.
Right, you are funny. What do you think about this game real quick, Ray?
Who, Colorado, Arizona State?
No. Oklahoma versus Kansas State. I'm just curious why Oklahoma State over Kansas State.
Just the line itself, to be honest with you, Jerome. I mean,
okay.
I didn't really research the game. I think Oklahoma State has played very well though the last couple of weeks. So
they have. I mean, like I said, both undefeated teams. I didn't realize both undefeated teams is why I didn't have them in our in our talk for today.
And I mean, I'm a Deuce. What's that?
No, I think that was going to be a really fun game to watch.
Oh, I think it'll be fun to watch. I think it'll probably be fairly high scoring too.
Yeah,
but I do like Deuce Vaughn a lot. I just don't think he's enough for to make up the difference between. I mean, a 6-point line. If it were 3, I'd think a little harder. I would probably tell you, let me check on my computer real quick and get back to you. But I'll go with Oklahoma State for now.
Definitely. All right, let's get to our next game, which is Washington versus Cal. Washington is favored by 7.5 over Cal. Both teams are 1-2. Who you got in this game, Ray?
I got Washington.
Yeah, I'm going to too. Cal, they looked okay, but even though Washington lost to Michigan, I forgot the other team they lost to. I don't think there was a easy cupcake game either, or like a team that they should have won and they got blown out by. So I'm still the jury is still out for me on Washington. They didn't score much on Michigan, which I thought they were going to score a little bit more than they did. Yeah. But I'm gonna take Washington on this game. This is a game that it's West Coast game. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry.
I love West Coast games though, man, because
you do?
I do, because I told you before, I like to watch football by myself, man. I don't like watching it with a bunch of noise and things around me.
I hear you.
So I like the games where I can sit in with all the lights off, and I'm just sitting there with my little tablet and I'm jotting stuff down as the game's going on. No one's going to bother me. I don't have to worry about being on call. Mm-hmm. I can just sit there and like kind of veg out and just pay attention to the game. I know I sound like a geek, but I just enjoy it. I do.
Man, this is why I love you, Ray.
I mean, I've been on call for like over 3 months straight now. So I've been having a hard time. Like, I was a little annoyed last week. I'm watching Notre Dame game. It's halftime. I get a call. I get to go to work. So I missed like the whole second half of the game. So I was kind of annoyed about that. But I did hire a new guy. So everybody out there, I'll be okay. But
nice.
I do like to just watch the games where I know no one's going to bother me. You know what I mean? So,
All right. Last game we're going to talk about. I'm doing a little pivot here because I don't like this line. And the way that Colorado lost last week, we're going to take that one out. Colorado versus Arizona. I know, right? I know you wanted me to say Colorado in that game so you can get ahead. I'm not going to say that.
Jerome, well, I know you like Arizona State a little bit.
I do.
There's no way you would double down on Colorado, man. 30-0.
No, I would have said Arizona State. So that would have been a game that we both had.
Do you know that Arizona State is favored by 15 in that game?
Yeah, no, that's why I skipped over it.
Good idea. God.
I was like,
don't worry. Most of the fans will skip over the game too. God.
All right, I want to skip over the game because I got a game that's a little bit closer, and this is a team that's kind of trending up. Michigan State versus Nebraska. Michigan State is only favored by 5 points. They are home, so it makes that line a little bit closer. They're ranked number 20 now, which is fine for them. Who you got in this game, right?
I got Michigan State.
Really? You getting Michigan State? What? After what you said last week?
What's the line in the game?
Michigan State is favored by 5 at home.
All right.
Okay, I'm going the same way. I was not sure how you're gonna go with that. Nebraska is a up and down kind of team. Like, if there is a team that Nebraska can win on, it would be a Michigan State game. Michigan State team, a team that they're familiar with, a team that just learned success now, when they never really had success for a while now. So this might be one of those trap games, and I think that's why the line looks the way it does.
What is the over/under in that game?
52,
which is not bad. No, I like Michigan State's running game. I think that Kenny, he's a beast, dude. So I'll stick with them.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ray completely changed his tune from last week. If you guys didn't see the podcast from last week, go make sure you check it out on YouTube. But that's going to do it for us today. Thank you guys for checking us out on the RPO podcast, man. I'm excited to see.
1 second, Jerome. I didn't change my tune. I'm done with Miami. Done.
Oh, not with Miami. I meant with Michigan State.
No, I'm done with the Miami Hurricane. I'm done.
Okay. I was so confused.
Well, no, because, again, the line always dictates to me what I should think. And I honestly thought, I always kind of look at the team's rosters and kind of use that as an equation. But I can't do that with Miami or Florida State anymore because they don't play up to their talent level.
Both of those teams have been very disappointing this year, as they have been the last couple of years. And we're like, oh, they're going to get better. They have Derek King. Yeah, that ain't do nothing for them at all.
You know what's funny? There were people that were saying when they got Derek King, that was going to be almost the same thing as
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, go or no, who was it? As when I forget who. I think it was Joe Burrow went to
LSU.
Went to LSU. It was going to be that much of a difference to their offense.
Oh, whoa!
It's just crazy, man. Because
that's record-breaking offense right there. I don't know about that. It's like saying the Lions are about to be the Chiefs.
You know what though? Everybody. I think people were pretty surprised by LSU's offense that year. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody saw Joe Burrow taking that step from basically a 500 completion percentage guy to a 70-something completion percentage guy, and then playmakers all over the field. And now we're getting to see, as they're moving on to the NFL, how talented they really were. So,
yeah, I agree, Ray. Definitely agree with that. So that's good. That's good on them for those other LSU boys going into the NFL. But if you love NFL, we do have the Air It Out podcast tomorrow, so make sure you check that out tomorrow at 6:00. But that's going to do it for us today. We'll hope to see you next week. But in the meantime, you can always check us out on all our social media, Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at Inside the Hashes. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can find this podcast on there. You can listen to our player interviews. We got a lot of players that are in the NFL right now or still playing in college right now that we interview. So go check that out, Inside the Hashes. And go make sure you go on our YouTube channel where we are live right now on. But make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you can know when we go live. And if you can't go live with us, we understand. You're busy. You come check us out later on the replay. Put your comments in there, and we will reply to that on our Inside the Hashes YouTube channel. So, guys, thank you so much for checking us out. I'm Jerome Jones. This is Ray Roberts right over there. Thank you guys for checking us out, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one, and enjoy your college football. Peace.
Yes.